let's go. Hey, are you ready? It's time for the Pwamps Show. Hey, are you ready? It's time for the Pwamps Show. Hey, Pwamps. Hey, Pwamps.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Pwamps.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another sports episode of the Pwamps Show. Happy Labor Day. Hope you all are ready to have a great holiday. So, it was a busy sports weekend, particularly in the college football world. As you probably saw, I had 4 featured matchups that were on my board. It all started with Texas and Ohio State at the Horseshoe on Fox. It was a defensive slugfest, folks. 14-7, Ohio State came out on top. Julian Sayin surprised a lot of people, played with some confidence, played with some poise. He looked really good. Jeremiah Smith actually had to change out his pair of gloves early on. He then finally came alive, put on a good game for Ohio State. A lot of things, though, about Arch Manning. Arch Manning didn't perform the way a lot of people were hoping. He will look to bounce back next week and get Texas a big-time win. That was my first game. Game 2, it was Toledo at Kentucky. Toledo was my favorite to win the MAC. Kentucky was my seller team. That game was a battle. Turned out Kentucky did get the win at home, 24-16. That was a fun one. Then we got to a little bit more of a, and I don't want to say blowout, but a big edge, big gap for Texas A&M. They were at home. They beat the Road Runners of UTSA, who were, again, they're my favorites to win the American Conference. Then the night ended with a banger on Saturday night. It was LSU heading to Death Valley to take on Clemson. We had great showings from Garrett Nussmeier. We had great showings from Cade Klubnik. But Brian Kelly, he said it just a couple days ago, they put the doubters to rest. LSU gets the win, folks, over Clemson in Death Valley. Another big game that took place last night, just last night. It was a great game. You had Notre Dame at Miami at the Hurricanes. A lot of things going down. Carson Beck, we finally got to see him no longer in the Georgia uniform. He plays for the Hurricanes and leads them to a victory over the Fighting Irish. C.J. Carr, though, shows a lot of promise for the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame has a bright future, and a bright future for this QB. It's going to be a fun one. So, there were some big games, like I said, Saturday. Now what do we have to look forward to this week? Well, it's finally time for the first regular season week of the NFL. Now, for those of you who don't know, the regular season is when all the games matter. The NFL, they play 3 preseason games. If you've seen the NFL on the past couple weeks, you've probably said, oh, the NFL's playing. They are, but those are games that don't count towards your overall record at the end of the season. The regular season kicks off Thursday, and then we have a full slate of games on Sunday. I'm sure Scott Hansen is just got ants in his pants, and he is ready to get to it. We also have had some big news around the US Open, and we are getting ready, folks, to see the Ryder Cup in a couple of weeks. One other thing going on is it is September. We are in the final month of a pennant race in Major League Baseball. Let's talk about it right here on the Pwamps Show. All right, everybody, it is time. The first week of the NFL regular season is upon us, and we're going to break it down for you right here on the Pwamps Show. What you see behind me, the helmet board is back, and it's got week 1 of the season. The schedule is up. Now, I'm going to explain a quick couple of things on how this works. When you see a week 1 schedule, when you see a schedule in the NFL, they've got a bunch of games lined up, and they also have different time slots. So, here's how it works. The teams that are on your left when looking at the board, they are the road team. They are the visitor. That means they're traveling, and they're going to be playing a team at the opposing team's stadium. If you're on the right, you are the home team. So, the NFL, a regular week, what would you usually have? You would have a Thursday night football game, you would have a Sunday night football game, and you would have a Monday night football game. This is the first week of the season, folks. We've got a couple of things that are a little special and thrown in unique for week 1. So let's get to it. Here we go. It's that time. First game of the season on NBC. It's the tradition. The defending champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, back in action. Saquon Barkley, he'll be back in action. They are hosting the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of things came out about the Cowboys. They actually ended up letting go, trading away Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers, which was really surprising. A lot of people did not see this coming. Jerry Jones it was an awkward situation for him. He was saying, hey, we don't know what's going to happen here. We're not really happy about it. Micah needs to play. Well, they shipped Micah off to Green Bay. He's no longer on the Cowboys. That game is Thursday night at 8 o'clock, kicking off the season. It's going to be a great game in Philadelphia. Now, a special one. Friday night, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Taylor Swift. Yep, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. They're traveling to take on their AFC West division rival, the LA Chargers. Now, it is a home game for the Chargers, but it's not in Los Angeles. This is the first game that's going to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it's YouTube's first game of the season. It's Friday night. Chiefs at the Chargers, Friday night. Now, we get to Sunday. We start with a regular slate in the NFL. Sunday, 1 o'clock, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson will be on the defensive side. They're traveling in the Battle of Ohio to take on the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco, he's going to be starting for the Browns. It's a major test for the Browns. Again, Myles Garrett still on the defensive side. He's caused Joe Burrow and the Bengals a lot of problems in the past. It'll be fun to watch. Battle of Ohio, 1 o'clock Sunday. Now, still at 1 o'clock, Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., they're traveling to take on the New Orleans Saints. Saints right now predicted to be one of the worst teams in the league. Cardinals would love to get out to a 1-0 start by going into New Orleans and getting an early season win and get to 1-0. Will they? We'll find out 1 o'clock on Sunday. Now, we jump up here. The Miami Dolphins, Tua, he's back, he's healthy, he will be playing. Tyreek Hill, the Cheetah, he's still running all over the field, catching some great passes from Tua. Dolphins traveling to Indy. Daniel Jones, like we said earlier in the show, he's going to be the starter for the Colts. Not a lot of people saw this coming. It's him, it's Jonathan Taylor, and it's Michael Pittman Jr. running this offense for the Colts. It's going to be really interesting in Indy. Dolphins at Colts, 1 o'clock Sunday. Now, we head to the Las Vegas Raiders and the New England Patriots. Again, no Bill Belichick this time for the Patriots. A lot of people need to remember that. He's actually going to be playing and coaching, making his coaching debut, Bill Belichick, tonight for North Carolina. That game is tonight, this evening, so be ready to watch that. But we're talking the Patriots now. Patriots, Drake May, they're at home hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders have Pete Carroll. He's back on the sidelines. He's going to be talking in that headset and talking to his new quarterback, Geno Smith. Deshaun Gentry from Boise State, they've got him in the NFL draft. Big game for the Raiders. They got some high expectations, but Drake May might be ready to prove himself right here. Big test for the Patriots, and they want to get off to a great season start here with a chance to take down the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, next game, Pittsburgh Steelers at the New York Jets. Again, kind of a mini story in this. How ironic, Aaron Rodgers. He was with the Jets the past 2 seasons. Remember, the Jets thought he was going to change things there. It didn't really pan out. What better way for Aaron Rodgers to start his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers than traveling to take on the New York Jets? That's going to be a fun one. Justin Fields was the quarterback for the Steelers at one point. He's now the quarterback of the New York Jets. That'll be a fun one. 1 o'clock Sunday, Steelers at the Jets at MetLife Stadium. Now, the New York Giants, they're traveling to take on the Washington Commanders. High expectations once again for Jaden Daniels. Terry McLaurin just signed a huge 3-year extension for the Commanders. They're going to be ready, and they're going to be in mid-season form, it seems, this season. The Commanders ready to make a big statement. And Russell Wilson from the Steelers, again, another quarterback from the Steelers, he is at the helm for the New York Giants. Big game in Washington. That will be a fun one. Sunday, 1 o'clock. Now we move to the left side of the board. The Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're still at 1 o'clock, folks. A lot of games at 1 o'clock. Bryce Young, again, ended the season on a high. Panthers had some promising signs ending the season. They're going to look to carry that momentum and go into Jacksonville. However, Trevor Lawrence is back healthy. They say the offense has reloaded. They're ready to prove the doubters wrong. Big game for both of these teams in Jacksonville at 1 o'clock. Now, we move down to our final 1 o'clock game of the day. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to take on the Atlanta Falcons. So, Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield, they are expected to win their division once again. It's going to be a tough one, though, as the Falcons have had a couple of questions at quarterback. We still don't know if it's going to be Michael Penix. We don't know if it's going to be Kirk Cousins. They finished with Michael Penix last year, but they said there might be a shakeup. We don't know for certain who's going to be under center for the Falcons, but we know this is a big battle in the division. It's going to be a fun one in Atlanta. That is Sunday at 1 o'clock. So that completes the 1 o'clock slate of our NFL games for week 1. Now we move to the 4 o'clock window. Those first games end, and these are the games that you can expect to see right after those first games end on your TV screens. It's the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks, an NFC West battle, and a big one at that. Some changes for the Seahawks. It's now Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold going to be running the Seattle offense. You don't have DK Metcalf anymore. You send him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So some major changes there for the Seahawks. The Niners, it's still the key weapons. You've got Brock Purdy, you've got George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. He's healthy. The Stanford alum, if the Niners are healthy and they're ready to play, their defense always shows up. Expect big things in this game, and it could be very telling for how the NFC West plays out this season. So now we move, 4 o'clock, another big game. Titans have a lot of question marks. The Tennessee Titans, they're traveling to take on the Denver Broncos at Mile High. Going to be a really great game. A lot of people are anticipating seeing Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton back on the field, how this team plays. It's going to be a good one. Broncos looking to make a nice win here against the Titans to start the season. So, we're still at 4 o'clock, and we've got two bangers to end our 4 o'clock window, folks. It's the Detroit Lions, obviously another huge Super Bowl favorite this year to win the NFC and get to the Super Bowl, but they have to go through the Eagles. Remember that Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions. A lot of people think the Lions could get there this year. They finally have a healthy roster. Jared Goff is ready to roll. Amon-Ra St. Brown ready to make some major catches down the field. These guys are ready to play. They travel to take on the Green Bay Packers in a major matchup in the division at Lambeau Field. Jordan Love, he's healthy. They say he's going to start, but the big news, like I said earlier when I was talking about the Cowboys, you've now got Micah Parsons on the defensive side. He's going to be wearing jersey number 1. Keep an eye out for him. He's a defensive menace. He's known all around the league. Major game at Lambeau Field. Major season implications for both of those teams right there. So, our last 4 o'clock game of the day, it's the Houston Texans traveling to SoFi Stadium to take on the LA Rams. A lot of question marks here again. Again, major win for whoever comes out on top in this one. CJ Stroud. This team, Stephon Diggs, this would be a major win against the LA Rams. Matthew Stafford didn't play in the preseason. Sean McVay says he is a go for the regular season. You no longer have Cooper Kupp, but you still have Puka Nacua. That kid can run, folks. He gets down the field. His hands look like they've got super glue on them. The Rams and the Texans, don't miss that game at 4 o'clock. That finishes our 4 o'clock session, though. So that's the 4 o'clock window. It's done. Now, we head to our 8 o'clock game of the night. Sunday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills. You hear those two teams, you think powerhouses of the NFL. That is exactly what they are. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, two faces of the NFL at quarterback for both of these teams. Ravens would love to pick up a huge road win over the Bills. The Bills would like to prove their dominance, get to 1-0. You do not want to miss this game Sunday evening, folks. On your screens, that game is on NBC. Tune in. Sunday, 8 o'clock, NBC. And I'm sure Carrie Underwood will be kicking things off with, been waiting all day for Sunday night. We'll see. So now we get to our Monday night football game. It's the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. Soldier Field. What a great venue, what a great stadium to get our first Monday night football game. And here we go. Question marks immediately for the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy. Everyone's been waiting to see how this kid's going to perform. He got hurt before the season started last year. He was supposed to be the quarterback for the Vikings. He missed all of last season. He finally is going to get a start for the Minnesota Vikings, and there are high expectations, folks. Remember, he was the Michigan Wolverines QB when they won the national championship. It's a big moment for the young guy, J.J. McCarthy. They're taking on the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, obviously out of USC. The offense has said they've reloaded. They've gotten some weapons. DeAndre Swift is in the backfield. The offensive line has come along a little bit. They were really struggling the past couple years. They're ready to prove they're one of the best O-lines in the league. If the Bears can start scoring some points, look out. Bears are a good team. Folks, that is week 1 of the NFL season. You've got all your games. All the helmets are up here. Let's enjoy it. Let's have a great first week of the NFL season. All right, everybody, it is time to dive in to college football. Here's what we have this week. On my right, we've got the featured 4, and on my left, we've got some games to keep an eye on. Here we go. Let's take a look at the right. Here are the featured 4 this week. If you didn't see it, it was in the shorts section. Here we go. Here's who I've got. 1-0, James Madison. They're my favorites to win the Sun Belt. They're traveling to take on the Louisville Cardinal. That game is on Friday night, the same time as the Chiefs-Chargers game. But hey, if you're watching the NFL, maybe if you get to halftime or you get to some commercials, flip on over. This is a fun one to watch, and it's going to be a nice little game, so keep your eye on it. Then we jump to Saturday around noon, Illinois, the Fighting Illini. They're traveling to take on the Duke Blue Devils of the ACC. Again, both teams 1-0. It's a Power 5 game. You got Illinois out of the Big Ten, Duke out of the ACC. Both teams at 1-0. It'll be a fun one to keep an eye on. Keep watching. Now, major game here. It's in my featured 4. Florida's number 15 in the country. They had a big win this past weekend. USF had a major win this past weekend. They were on a major tear, a 38-7 blowout of my predicted conference champ, Boise State, the Broncos. USF, 38-7. They're now 1-0. They're going to take on Florida. It's going to be a fun one. Keep an eye on that one. Now, the big game of the week, the one that everyone's going to be talking about. They're going to have their eyes on their screens. The Michigan Wolverines, the Maize and Blue, traveling to take on the Oklahoma Sooners, Boomer Sooner. It's a top 20 matchup, folks. Bryce Underwood, first real test for the true freshman. Michigan, just last week, they got a good win. Sherrod Moore was really happy with it. It was a great little win. You got to see the guys getting loose. There were a couple kinks that they had to get worked out. They got it done. Same goes for Oklahoma. Oklahoma got to 1-0 as well. Michigan only had to take on the New Mexico Lobos, but they got it done. Wolverines are 1-0, Oklahoma 1-0. That game is Saturday evening at 7:30. You're going to want to take a look at it. So, we move to the left side of the board. That was the featured 4 on my right. These are the other games that have some intriguing little storylines to keep your eyes on this weekend. So, San Jose State taking on Texas. San Jose State, they're 0-1. They're traveling to take on Texas. Everybody's going to have their eyes on Arch Manning to see how these Longhorns respond. They went into the Horseshoe, played Ohio State. Those are 2 of the top defenses you're going to see in college football. Arch didn't quite meet the expectations a lot of people had for him. He's going to look to rebound in this game, though, against the Aztecs. It'll be a fun one to watch. Now, the battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. Iowa, the Hawkeyes, another stout defense like they have every year, traveling to take on Iowa State. Iowa State's 2-0. By the way, they're going to be moving up those top 25 rankings. They were at number 22. Believe me, they're going to crack the top 20, and they're going to be probably around the 15 to 17 range is my guess. They've knocked off Kansas State in the first week of the season. They're ready to get it going here. Rocco is back on the attack. Iowa State and Iowa, the Hawkeyes, going to be a good one. Now, Third game here. You're probably thinking, whoa, you don't see the Huskies very often. But UConn, they're ready to have a big test against the Syracuse Orange out of the ACC. Syracuse is on this board. They were 0-1. They lost their opener. UConn did not. They blew out. Had a major win at home to start the season. Huskies, Syracuse, that's going down on Saturday. Just wanted to keep your eye on, see if the Huskies can maybe pick up a big Power 5 win and get to 2-0 to start their season. So, last game of the night, 10:30 on the CW network. I mean, that's where you used to watch Gossip Girl. You used to watch, a lot of other shows that were like, whoa, we're turning on the CW tonight, folks. Weeds. Was Weeds on CW? I think Weeds was on CW too. Anyway, we're at CW network. It's San Diego State and Washington State. Big game for the Cougars, big game for the Aztecs. Both teams 1-0. Mountain West, San Diego State, Washington State, one of the only two teams in the Pac-12. It's going to be a good one. Keep your eye on it. It's a late night drama in Washington State. Let's have some fun. That is this week of college football. What to keep your eye on. Hey everybody, we are in the final month of the Major League Baseball season, and here we are in front of our standing board. We've got all the baseball teams on the board. Let's break down this pennant race. It's heating up, folks. Here we go. Taking a look, we're going to start with the American League East. You've got in first place the Toronto Blue Jays, followed by the New York Yankees. Closely behind them is the Boston Red Sox. Great rivalry there in all of baseball. Then you've got the Tampa Bay Rays and then the Baltimore Orioles. Blue Jays currently sitting 3 up on the Yankees in the AL East. Red Sox only a half game behind the Yankees right now. That's why that is a tight race. Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, they're hitting the ball really well for the Yankees. It's funny, usually you see the Yankees in front in the AL East. The Blue Jays, I tell you what, Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero Jr., those guys have been on a tear lately. They lead the AL East. The Rays are 11.5 back. Orioles are 18 back. It's looking like it's going to be really difficult for them to chase and catch. Not mathematically eliminated yet, but looking a little grim for those two in the AL East. Now we move. We've got the American League Central. You've got the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers have been solid, folks. They have been playing some great baseball. Spencer Torkelson's hitting the ball really well. And they're 9.5 up on the second place team, the Kansas City Royals. Royals still 9.5, not impossible. You got to go on a major run. They are currently sitting on top of the Cleveland Guardians. Guardians only 10.5 back, 1 game back of the Royals with a month to play. Then we go to the Minnesota Twins. Again, not out of it, but they are 17 back in the American League Central. Then you get the Chicago White Sox, 30.5 back. 30.5 is a big number. You're not out, but it's looking tough. White Sox in last right now in the American League Central. Now, we move to the far side of the board. It's the American League West, the AL West. We've got the Houston Astros in front, 2 games up. Josie Altuve is smashing the ball out of the stadium, folks, and he's looking good while doing it. They're in first place. 2 games, though, is all that separates them and the Seattle Mariners. Mariners hot on the trail of the Astros. Third place, it's the Texas Rangers. Corey Seager has regained his MVP form. Adolis Garcia, he's back, and I tell you, the Rangers are looking mighty strong, and they're trying to close in on the Astros. That American League West race is not finished, folks, with a month to play in this season. Then you've got the LA Angels. The Angels still hanging around. Division, probably not. Wild card, still an option for the Angels. Joe Adell, Zach Neto, Mike Trout still playing, doing what he does best. He's hitting the ball really well. Taylor Ward, if you didn't see it, he had an incident. They were just playing the Astros this past weekend. He actually ran into he was in center field, ran back to catch a ball, nailed his head on the scoreboard. It cut kind of right above his eye. He had some blood coming out of his eye. It was nasty. He got carted off the field. Angels are 10.5 back. And then you got the Athletics, who are going to be the Las Vegas Athletics here soon. They're 12.5 back in the American League West. That's the American League. That's how the American League races look. Now we move to the National League. What do we got? So we go right here. Once again, we're looking at the NL East. The Philadelphia Phillies, they are 6 games up. Trey Turner, he's hitting the ball really well. Bryce Harper, he's smashing the ball. JT Realmuto, he's regaining his postseason form. These guys are looking good. Phillies, 6-game lead in the NL East. Then you've got the New York Mets, Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor. They're always a nice little duo, nice little set of weapons. Don't forget about Juan Soto, who again, folks, is starting to hit the ball. The Mets only sit 6 games back. The Miami Marlins, they're still hanging around in the National League wild card race. They're not done yet. Then you've got the Atlanta Braves. It's going to be tough for the Braves. They got to make a run. Austin Riley, Ozzie Albies, Matt Olson, still some big weapons out there for the Braves, and we've got about 25 games left this season to make it happen. Division out of reach, wild card, not impossible. For the Nationals though, 25.5 back in the division. The wild card, again, it's also looking pretty dire. It's looking rough for the Nationals, but you never know. Close, but not impossible. Now, we move to the National League Central. Really fun division. The Milwaukee Brewers lead it. They're 6.5 games up on the Chicago Cubs. As I noted earlier in the sports show, these roles were reversed at one point in the season. The Cubs were the team that were kind of running away with the Central. The Brewers are now the team kind of doing that. They've looked really good as of late. Christian Yelich hitting the ball really well. The pitching for the Brewers has been a big storyline. They're playing really well. Brandon Woodruff, he rejoined the rotation a couple weeks ago. He's pitching really well. If the Brewers keep things moving the way they are, I see them still holding on to this division. The Cubs looking pretty though right now in the wild card race. And get this, still not dead yet. In third place, it is the Cincinnati Reds. Reds are 15.5 back in the division. With the Cubs and the Brewers, both these teams in 1 and 2, it's not going to happen. The Reds are not going to win the Central this year. Wild card is not out. They're chasing the New York Mets, and they actually play the Mets in a 3-game series at Great American Ballpark just around the corner. The Reds, 4 games back from that last wild card spot. They play 3 with the Blue Jays, beg my pardon, at home, and then they play 3 with the New York Mets after that. That's a big stretch of games for the Reds. Got to keep your eyes on Matt McLain. He's hit a couple homers lately. Got to keep your eyes on guys, as always, like TJ Friedel. And how about, I tell you what, Novelli Marte starting to hit the ball really well for the Mets. They've got key weapons. If Elly De La Cruz can clean up just a little bit of his play on the infield and he starts hitting the ball again, look out, the Reds could make a run here down the stretch to close out the season and capture a wild card spot. The Cardinals, they're only a game and a half back, folks. They took 2 out of 3 from the Reds in Cincinnati just this past weekend. They're not out of this wild card race yet. It's going to be really interesting to see if they make a little splash near the end of the season. Then you got the Pirates. Pirates 24 games back in the division. It's not looking like this is going to be the year for the Pirates to get into the postseason, but it's been an improvement from last year. That's the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is the NL Central. Now, we move to the National League West, and you look at all of our margins, there's about 3 divisions that are really, really tight between first and second place on seeing who could win their division. This is one of them, and it's been razor thin. Dodgers and Padres, these teams have flipped a little bit. Dodgers are 2 games up. Padres are sitting in a wild card spot right now. They're trying to win the division. They're only 2 back in the division. Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Sam Merrill, Jackson Merrill, Jake Cronenworth. These guys are playing great baseball. Padres could do it. Giants, 10 back in the division. They're not out of the wild card. The Diamondbacks, 10.5 back in the division. Not the division, but the wild card. Diamondbacks are still right there, folks. 6.5 games back, not out. The Rockies, they're the only team mathematically eliminated. 39 games out. It's not going to happen this year, Rockies fans, but there's always next season. Guys, that's our outlook. That is the pennant race, the state of the pennant race in Major League Baseball as we enter the final month of the season. Keep your eyes on it. It's going to be interesting. All right, everyone, it's the final segment of the Pwamps Show. We're going to give you the final little bit of news that we have going on in the sports world, and we start with U.S. Open tennis. It's going on right now in Flushing Meadows in New York City, and it has been action-packed. On the men's side, let's start there first. Just last night, Novak Djokovic, he moved to the quarterfinals. Big win for him. In other news for the Americans, Taylor Fritz, he gets a win. He will be in the quarterfinals. Ben Shelton, he was number 6 in the rankings for the men. He had to retire from his match just a couple days ago, so that was an American who people were hoping to see make a little further. He had to step out of his match. Francis Tiafoe, he was ranked 17th for the men's side in the U.S. He got defeated, and he is no longer in the tournament. So now all the American hopes lying in the hands of Taylor Fritz. You also lost Tommy Paul. So the Americans, it's all coming down to Taylor Fritz if they want a U.S. Open winner on U.S. Open soil. Problem is for Taylor Fritz, you got some guys that are pretty dang good at the top of the men's draw. Jannik Sinner, he's playing again tonight. He's been dominant. Now, he did drop a set, first set of his last match he played. He's looking to erase that tonight and move on to the quarterfinals. Carlos Alcaraz, just a couple days ago, he got another big win. He will be in the quarterfinals. So a lot of things looking promising on the men's side. If you haven't tuned in, be watching now. The U.S. Open's getting really good on the men's side. It's also getting fantastic on the women's side. Here's what we've got going on. Iga Swiatek, she's playing right now. She's the 2 seed in the women's draw. She's looking to get to a quarterfinal. Coco Gauff, she's 3rd seed. She's playing against number 23 seeded Naomi Osaka of Japan. Naomi Osaka in the past, she's been dominant in the women's scene. She had just a couple of years where she had some things going on. Wasn't really herself. She's back now, and she's playing in top form, folks. That's a major matchup. Coco and Naomi Osaka, that's going on today. Then you take a look. Who else is hanging around? Aryna Sabalenka, she's number 1 for a reason. She's been dominant as of late. The past couple of majors, she's been outstanding. This goes all the way back to last year. The U.S. Open, it's the final major of the year. She would love to get one more. She is playing tomorrow. So, who else? Amanda Emiasova, another American who's trying to make a run. Jessica Pegula, she's the 4th-ranked woman in the Americans draw. She is playing tomorrow as well and still has a great run going at the U.S. Open. I mean, it is fierce on both sides in the men's and women's side at the U.S. Open. Another little tidbit for you, in case you didn't know this, Venus Williams. She was a wild card entry into singles. She lost her first-round match, but she showed some great strength, played really well. It was a 3-setter. That was a great match. A lot of people really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I watched it. Venus, it was an inspiring performance. She then joined mixed doubles. She's playing with Leylah Fernandez out of Canada. They're playing in doubles, and guess what? They're in the 3rd round. That matchup goes on today. You don't want to miss that. That's the U.S. Open. If you're not watching it yet, now's the time to get your eyes on it because it's great TV that you don't want to miss. Those are all on ESPN. Keep your eyes on the U.S. Open. Now, we flip to another sport. The Ryder Cup for golf. It will be taking center stage here within the next coming weeks, and it's going to be good. If you don't know what the Ryder Cup is, every 2 years they play the Ryder Cup. It is the 12 best players from the United States against the 12 best players from Europe. So, how does this work? Well, there's 2 team captains. This year for Team USA, it's Keegan Bradley, and for Team Europe, it's Luke Donald. Luke Donald, the last Ryder Cup, it was played in Europe. Team Europe dominated Team USA. Luke Donald has brought back a vast majority of those same players to take on Team USA this year. So, the captains, they make their picks. The top 6 players from this season of golf automatically qualify for their Ryder Cup teams, their respective Ryder Cup teams. So, for the U.S., let's start there. Keegan Bradley was the captain. First 6 guys in. The number 1 player in the world, Scottie Scheffler. He's outstanding. He's getting a lot of comparisons to Tiger Woods right now. He's been dominant. You have Bryson DeChambeau. He's a big Ryder Cup guy, loves to bring energy. He's going to have a lot of fun. Russell Henley, he's ready to play. Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas. How about Cam Young? He's ready to get into the Ryder Cup. You got so many guys. Xander Schauffele. It's a U.S. team that's ready to get it going, but they have a tall task against Team Europe. Luke Donald, like I said, bringing back many guys from that team 2 years ago that dominated Team USA. We start with an obvious one, Rory McIlroy. He's one of the best golfers in the world. Rory headlines Team Europe. He's got some great company with him, though. Let's talk about Sepp Straka. Let's talk about guys like Shane Lowry. He's a Ryder Cup spark plug. Let's talk about Victor Hovland. Let's talk about guys like Rasmus Højgaard. He'll be making his Ryder Cup debut just this year at Bethpage Black. Oh, let's not forget the storyline, Keegan Bradley. A lot of people think he should have been in this year's Ryder Cup. He elects to not pick himself. He doesn't do it. He says he's got other guys he wants to give that shot to, and we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be really interesting to see if the results carry over for Team USA. Team Europe, though, it's a tall task, guys. Major moment here for the Ryder Cup. It's coming at you in just a couple weeks. Keep your eyes on it. It's a really fun event. If you haven't tuned in, and hey, maybe you're even on the fence about if you like golf, it's a really fun way to get introduced to golf. The players have fun. The crowds are going nuts. They're chanting. They're getting wild. It's almost the closest that you get when watching professional golf to it being like Happy Gilmore. Happy's getting the crowd all pumped up. The players, the pros, are doing that at the Ryder Cup. Guys, if you like what you saw today, if you liked tuning in to the Pwamps Show, do me a favor. Why don't you go ahead and subscribe or leave a like or leave a comment. Hey, let me know some of your predictions for sports this week. I always like to see them. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a good one, and we will see you We'll see you Friday, actually, for our entertainment show. So be back Friday. And a reminder, we're talking Rear Window and Hamilton on Friday's entertainment show. We'll see you then.